Striking looks cool until you're on your back with no idea what to do. Grappling is boring until it saves you the fight. So which one should you train first? In this video, I'm going to compare the two and give you my recommendations as to which one you should focus on training if you're just starting out at MMA. Okay, so first up, what's the risk of using striking and grappling in a fight? So the risk of striking is actually higher because if you're better than someone at striking, you're probably going to win, let's be honest. But there's always the chance that, a lucky swing lands and it changes the course of the fight.
Another big shot.
Oh, nice body kick.
One more flurry.
Oh!
Wow! Big right hand!
Not common, obviously, not a high chance, but there's always that chance. But the risk of using grappling in a fight, if you can pin someone down and then use your grappling from there, the risk is much lower. If you're better than someone at grappling, 9 times out of 10, you're actually just gonna beat them straight up. It's pretty much a guaranteed win. No one gets lucky arm bars, and if they do manage to do that, you're gonna be able to escape the arm bar. Okay, risk of injury. For striking, it's a pretty obvious one, but the risk of getting concussions is pretty high.
Checked. Oh! Big right hand! Pat Barry looking to finish! It's over!
Taking punches and kicks to the head, if you get concussions over and over again, it can kind of mess you up. But in striking, there is a lower risk of joint injuries. In grappling, however, obviously there's much less risk of concussion, but there is a lot more risk of joint pain and joint injuries. Okay, sparring ability. So in training, obviously, to put your skills to the test, you've got to do sparring, right? For striking, there is a higher danger in sparring. Obviously, the most common one is concussion. And because of this, you're not able to do hard sparring as common as maybe you'd like. But for grappling, there's a lot less danger when hard sparring, or hard rolling, I guess you could say, which allows you to hard roll more often, which obviously gives you a more realistic fight experience and allows you to progress a lot faster. Okay, so which one is easier to learn? Striking is easier to learn. It's super easy to develop a lot faster in. Pad work helps to develop techniques that can be transferred to sparring almost instantly. Whereas for grappling, it's a lot harder to develop a lot faster. There's lots and lots, there's a massive big pool of basics that you've got to understand before you even get the chance to generate offense onto your opponent. So striking is definitely a lot easier to progress in. Damage to an opponent in fights. Obviously striking, no question about it, does a lot of damage if you're good at it and you can use it effectively in fights. It will do a lot more damage than grappling will. In fight control, with just striking, there's a lot less in-fight control. However, you do have the advantage of, obviously, every fight starts on the feet. When the round starts, or if it's a street fight even, every fight starts on the feet. No one sits down and then starts fighting. It's all starting up. So if you can keep someone standing up, and you're a striker, then that's great, but you don't have much control over where the fight goes. Whereas the grapplers, there's a lot of control. If you want to stand and strike with someone, you're able to do that. But then if you start struggling with the striking, you can take them down. So with grappling, you have a lot more control over where the fight goes. So with disciplines, for striking, you've got boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, karate, and taekwondo. Those are the main ones. Probably wouldn't steer out of any of those. But for MMA, the best ones are boxing and Muay Thai. The other ones can be good if you use them correctly, but if you're just looking for fast progress, boxing and Muay Thai are the top ones to do. For grappling, you've got wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and judo. The only problem with these ones is that using the gi in jiu-jitsu and judo is a lot less applicable to MMA. And obviously, if you don't do the gi, and you just train in the no-gi, then you might not be able to progress through the belt systems, meaning you might not be able to learn more advanced moves like heel hooks and knee bars and all that stuff, which might hinder your performance a little bit, but there's obviously always ways around it. So here are my recommendations. Obviously, striking and grappling for MMA are equally important. They both set each other up. You know, the threat of the takedown sets up knockout punches, and knockout punches sets up takedowns. So it's important to do both, but this is what I recommend. Starting by training grappling to build basic instincts and to make you comfortable with fighting someone in a safer way, and then begin to build your striking around that. Doing grappling first develops like a safety barrier for you as a fighter. So if you're in a fight and you get knocked down, it's not over, obviously, because doing jiu-jitsu or being able to wrestle back up. But a striker with not very good grappling, if they get knocked down, they're going to struggle to get back up, or most likely they're just going to get finished off their back. I feel like with more, you know, crazy good wrestlers, you know, like Islam Makhachev, it's increasingly important to get better at grappling. So definitely having a grappling base is going to serve you very well for your MMA career. Even if you're not making it a career, you're just doing it for fun. Grappling is super important. So I definitely recommend starting off with grappling and then moving into striking afterwards. It's the best way to be introduced into fighting without hurting yourself every session and coming home with concussions. It's also a good way to start to compete as well, which is something that I'm personally doing. A good way to compete in a safe way. If you want to see more educational videos like this by a small YouTuber that are centered around helping you improve at MMA around other life commitments such as university and work, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.